Hi. This is a different start to the podcast. As you guys know, we are both huge Eagles fans, and we are coming off of quite possibly one of the most heartbreaking Super Bowls in history.
Man.
So, with that said, I'm Rich Liebig.
I'm Michael Costanzo.
And join us, I guess, as we try to delve through all of the emotions that we felt in the sports sampler, and then try and rebound in the entertainment entree and the non-fortune cookie odd news. We'll still give you a full show, but I'm not gonna lie to you and throw some BS on this. This Sunday hurt. It was a rough one.
It sucks.
Yeah, this was a rough one.
I'm not a happy Michael.
Yes. I mean, a lot of the times on the podcast, you're not a happy Michael. So it's not,
That's true. I'm mostly some form of angry or pissed off.
Yeah. So, look, there's no way around it.
Should we just start? Go right into the sports sampler.
Yeah, let's rip the Band-Aid off because we need to address it. Like, this is what we did this weekend too. Like it literally, you can't escape it.
Right.
Especially here in Philadelphia, it's
Right.
everywhere. So let's do our best and let's rip the Band-Aid off and just talk about it right off the bat within the first couple minutes of the show. We usually don't do it like this. If you're new to the podcast, yeah, this is a whole new ball game. Considering the heartbreaking loss we had on Sunday. So officially, we're launching the sports sampler right now.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports. In your face. Ha ha!
Well, unfortunately, I think this came at our face. Usually,
Yep.
Mike is the one telling other people in your face.
Not this time. This
No.
time people are telling us to our face.
Yep. The
You know what?
Eagles-
There's no way around it. The
No.
Eagles lost a heartbreaker to the Kansas City Chiefs, 38-35.
Yep.
In the big game.
Yep.
Um,
Quite possibly one of the worst second halves in football history. Although if there is a silver lining, it's not the worst.
that is also true. We were only up by 10.
Take that, Atlanta.
In your face, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta's just sitting there like, why you got to we're me?
See, welcome. We're gonna find some positivity.
That's right.
It's gonna be rough.
We'll find ways to make it light and make it fun.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough, but we're gonna find a way to get through
Right,
it.
there is a silver lining. We were only up by 10, not by 25.
Yeah.
So,
And with what 18 minutes of game time left.
yeah.
It was that one was really crazy.
Yeah.
But this one hurts.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know where I want to start. I mean, everybody wants to make a big deal about, specific individual plays. There was that holding call at the end.
Yeah.
I've always said here on this podcast, and it's still true right now, is that it doesn't ever come down to just one play. It's never just one play. It's always a series of plays.
Yeah, we always like to say that here on the podcast.
Yeah, because I really believe it, and the players echoed that. Like, yes, that play ultimately decided how the final moments played out. That is true. And I think the most disappointing thing for everyone is that we didn't get a chance to go back out on the field.
Yeah.
I'm not annoyed at the call because even Bradbury said that was a hold.
Yeah, he owned up to it.
I'm mostly annoyed that, all game the refs had been pretty lenient with the flags. And then at the end, they decide to call that big one, which, does completely change the momentum of things.
That's also just a shame because it was also like a fun back and forth game.
It was.
And to have that call essentially ice the game out of the Eagles.
And I think and it's not just because
it was just a horrible ending. It was just like, oh.
Right. And the refs basically decided how that game was going to end because at that point, the Chiefs just knelt down and kicked their go-ahead field goal. And it's not just me saying that as an Eagles fan. I've seen this sentiment echoed, on message boards online. People were disappointed that the ending was completely anticlimactic. And you remove fandom from the equation, I think it would have been way more interesting and exciting and fulfilling if the Eagles get to go back out on the field and they get to take that one last drive.
Yeah.
Instead we get the ball back. What was it, like 4 or 5 seconds?
Only 4 seconds.
Yeah. And, you
can't
can't
do
do
anything.
anything. No.
No.
So it was one big Hail Mary shot, and you all know how that ended up. So just really disappointing that it happened that way. But that wasn't what did it for the Eagles. I think that, what it really comes down to is the most talented player on the Chiefs roster, the field at Arizona Stadium, because the grass was awful. No, I mean, in all seriousness, this is my actual take of what happened. The defense.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple, it was the
story.
defense.
The storyline in this game is just the vaulted defense didn't get any pressure on Patrick Mahomes. 0 sacks. You're not going to win. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with 0 sacks.
Right.
I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes, Michael Vick. You got to get the quarterback on the ground.
Right.
You got to get pressure on him.
And so I want to say this about, and this is the other thing that really frustrated me, and I hope that, going forward, they don't try to do this stuff again. But a lot was made out of the field conditions. I had read an article just a day before the Super Bowl talking about the field and how special it was and how unique it was, how they'd been spending, years inventing it. And how they've been growing it specially for the past month or something. They bring it in and out of the stadium because they got that thing where they can move the field in and out, and they're treating it like a newborn baby infant. They spent almost $1 million on this field.
Spending $1 million to screw the Eagles out of this game.
The Eagles' defensive players slipped on 39% of defensive plays. So for those that watch the game, you could see people slipping and sliding everywhere. The Eagles defenders slipped there was quote-unquote slippage on 39% of plays. How can you get to the quarterback if your players are on the ground 40% of the time, basically?
Yeah.
The other big thing, circling back to the defense, our whole defense, that was what was supposed to win us the game, was the defense.
Yeah.
That's what everybody was talking about, was the defense, how if there was a way we were going to win, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands, and that defense, that pass rush. And how does our pass rush play? Fast, aggressive, agile, and
they're falling down.
And that's unfortunately, and I'm not trying to make excuses here, but bad field conditions favor the offense of football teams because, offensive players, they know where they're going, they know what they're doing, they can adjust their routes accordingly. Defenders are reactionary. They have to be. By the very nature of the game, they have to be able to plant, drive, and change direction at a moment's notice. And yes, offensive players have to do that too, but not to the same degree as defenders do because they have to react at a moment's notice. And our defensive line especially is entirely built on speed. Now, it'd be great to just stop there and say it was the field that was the only problem. If just a different playing field would have made a difference, maybe. But really, the biggest underlying issue is that once we realize that the field is the way it is, what does Jonathan Gannon do?
Nothing.
To adjust.
Did absolutely nothing.
And that, I think, is the thing that people need to go to. You can complain about the hold. You can complain about the field conditions. You can complain about X, Y, and Z. Those are all contributing factors. You're right. Absolutely. But ultimately, once we see that our players are slipping that frequently, what does Jonathan Gannon do? Let's try it again, boys. Let's try it again, boys. Yeah, keep going around the edge. Should we bring a 5th or 6th guy? No. 4 will do it. Because 4 did it the last X number of times. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. How many times do we rush 4 and both of our ends end up on their faces?
Yeah. At the end of the day, the thing that really killed the Eagles on Sunday was actually coaching. Andy Reid actually outcoached the Eagles coaching staff between Sirianni, Gannon. I got to give him credit. He made adjustments. Andy Reid went back into that half-hour halftime show, and they came out with a different plan, and it worked.
Man, I watched that fat man here for 14 years, not know what a clock is, not know how to use timeouts, not correctly call challenges, not understand that you could tie in the NFL, never make a single adjustment. I think that was both of them. You're telling me the quarterback doesn't know?
I think that was McNabb.
Who's coaching the quarterback?
Well, I mean, I think the actual, you're referring to that incident where I think
it was McNabb.
McNabb went into the press conference. He said, "I didn't know a tie could happen." Yeah.
But who's telling these players, "Hey, this is something that could happen"?
Yeah.
I watched Andy Reid coach for, what was it, 14 years here.
Didn't
Never
somebody else,
once.
too, didn't know that there was a tie? I feel like that happened also again this year.
Here's the secret. NFL players don't actually know some of the rules of the
Apparently
game.
they don't.
They really don't.
Oh, I think that happened again this year, too, and I can't remember. It's been a long season.
It's because they're heavily specialized in their one area, so they don't really take a whole, a holistic view.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll say this, though, in terms of bright spots, because I don't want to just be a negative.
We can't be all doom and gloom here.
So you mentioned that we got out-coached. I think we did on defense, but on offense, Jalen Hurts played like an amazing game.
Other than a huge fumble.
Other than the fumble, which, you know what, honestly.
Which, by the way, he actually there was a little face mask on
There was
that.
a face mask. There was a
Didn't get
You want
called.
to talk about missed calls or calls that go the wrong way?
What can you do?
What can you do? The fumble, he protects the ball all year long. It's not like he's going out there with fumbleitis. It was just one of those freak things. But that fumble aside, he was sacked twice on scrambles that he went out of bounds.
Effectively, there was no sacks.
There were no sacks. I just looked at the stat sheet. 2 sacks for 2 yards. Both of those were scrambles where he went out of bounds.
Yeah, that shouldn't even really count as a sack.
And you look at the stats. I mean, you can't. And this is the thing. This is the thing that's so heartbreaking. You cannot ask Jalen Hurts to play a better game. 27 of 38, 300 yards, a passing touchdown, 70 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns. Literally did the entire thing himself. I mean, how many times does a team score 35 points and lose in a game? I mean,
welcome the Philadelphia Eagles.
you couldn't have asked for a better game from Jalen Hurts, and I think it's only appropriate that I finally admit right here, right now, that Jalen Hurts is the guy.
Oh, wait, so I didn't know we were doing a conclusion segment.
It's the conclusion, yeah.
The conclusion of is Jalen Hurts the guy?
You are not the guy. You're not capable of being the guy. I had a guy, but now I don't. You are not the guy.
So after all this, now you're saying he is the guy.
I doubted him all year long just to get him to the Super Bowl. And even though he lost, he was the one bright spot on that team. I mean, he had over 370 yards by himself. I think he accounted for almost the entirety of the offensive production. I mean, you look at the other running backs. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell had 21 yards. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Jalen Hurts is a great bright spot in this team, something to build around.
Right. And that's kind of usually the biggest issue for most franchises is, do they have the franchise quarterback? Well, I think for the Eagles, I think the answer is a resounding yes after this game.
Because here's the thing, he was getting it done in all facets. He was making the short passes. He was big passes as well. 2 deep passes, one to Devontae Smith, one to A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown pass was awesome.
He was slinging it everywhere. Down the field, short. He was running. He was, making plays out of nothing. And, it's really a clear case of, if the defense just literally does anything, just any one thing.
Yep. And one stop.
That's it.
They couldn't do it.
Just one single, all they needed was a single fluke stop, and the game may be completely different. You can't put this on the offense.
No. So with that in mind, Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, is going to get a head job now. He's going to get a promotion.
I think the organization is secretly thrilled about that. Because
I don't get it. I do not get this hiring.
I actually get it perfectly. He had the second best defense in the league. And, sometimes, and we're guilty of it too, is you make excuses. And I can see the Arizona Cardinals saying, well, he played against Patrick Mahomes. Who really has a good game against Patrick Mahomes? I can hear the Cardinals front office saying that.
No, but I have another reason why this isn't a good move. It has something to do with what Colin Cowherd said at the beginning of this year's playoffs. And that is just, in the last couple of years, defensive coordinators that get promoted to head coaches, they just don't work out. They really don't. When you get to the divisional round of this year's NFL playoffs, the 8 head coaches that were there in the final 8 teams, 7 of them came from the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Only 1 came from the defensive side of the ball, and that was Sean McDermott, and he got knocked out in that round. It's just the league is not built for defense first anymore. The league is built for actually a game like the Super Bowl where it's 38-35. They want crazy plays. They want high explosion touchdowns. They want octopuses, which by the way, we won that bet. So if you caught our betting segment last week, you earned money.
One of the other few positives. No, you're absolutely right. It's long been an offensive league. It's been trending in that way for years now. Some people online are suggesting that the NFL was experimenting with this kind of playing surface to find a playing surface that highlights offensive gameplay.
Yeah.
What better way to get a high-scoring game than to neutralize defenses, And they do that through the rules. They do that through player safety initiatives. They do it through playing surfaces.
Right. Lest we forget the whole controversies with, hitting the quarterback.
Right.
I mean, you literally have to...
You can't hit them below the knee. You can't hit them above the shoulder.
You can't put your whole weight down.
You can't put your weight on them. You can't throw them down. You can't drag them down. You basically have to... I see funny videos online of, somebody picking up somebody else and gently laying them on the ground. I don't want to sound like one of those people like, go back to the days when we could decapitate people on the field. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm saying, though, is that there's a clear effort from the NFL to further and enhance the offensive side of the game.
Yeah.
And I don't
know why, if you're a franchise in need of a head coach in 2023, I don't know. I don't think a defensive coordinator is your best ticket, especially one that now just gave up 38 points in the Super Bowl and cost Philadelphia a Super Bowl.
Arizona's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, good luck. Good luck, Arizona.
Some franchises are just stupid.
Good luck.
We'll
see. Oh, also, too, he's got to work with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's going to be a disaster.
I don't know, man. Sure. Good luck. We'll see how well that experiment lasts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there'll be a threat in the West.
Also, on the flip side of that, the Eagles also lost their offensive coordinator because the Colts just don't have any other game plan when it comes to hiring head coaches. For the second straight time, the Indianapolis Colts have poached our offensive coordinator after a Super Bowl run. The last time it was Frank Reich. Now it is Shane Steichen.
Well, they're just hoping that they hit on one of these guys.
Yeah.
In like 4 or 5 years' time, they'll get the next one.
Look,
and they'll just keep trying.
Colts, if you do this again, we have to put in a rule. You can't do this more than 3 times. Stop stealing our offensive coordinators.
Yeah, right?
That is weird. That is bizarre.
That is, yeah. It's a little odd.
It's like every time they have a head coaching vacancy, they're that meme of the guy in the yellow jacket.
And he's like rubbing his hands together.
What's happening over there in Philadelphia? What are they doing?
But the Steichen move makes sense to me. I mean, look at the game that the Eagles played against the Chiefs. I mean, they went toe to toe with them all year long.
And they were a scary offense this entire season. I get the resume for him.
Right.
I just think it's weird.
You just think it's weird the Colts keep going back to the same well.
Right.
Leave us alone. That's our water.
If they do it a third time, there should be a rule. Like, you can't do it anymore.
That's a little sus.
Find another team.
Yeah, right?
Help.
Hands off.
Yeah.
But these coaching changes, I'm not going to lie, I'm not particularly heartbroken. I'm
definitely not Gannon.
Kind of excited that Gannon isn't coming back. Not to harp on it too much, but this defense really got revealed for its biggest flaw in that if the front four don't generate pressure,
there's no backup plan.
It's paper thin. Yeah. I mean, like, we have a good secondary and we have decent linebackers now, but the positions that we would put them in, that Gannon put them in, were not very favorable to them. He had a very much bend, don't break philosophy, which worked under Jim Johnson when the game was different.
Yeah.
But now, with the way the game is, you can't get away with some of the stuff that you could back in the early 2000s. And I think that, he's just too soft. Not soft like weak, but too soft in terms of coverage for them to keep up with modern passing attacks.
Yeah, so good luck in Arizona.
Yeah, good luck. The team didn't even get him a return ticket.
They probably shouldn't have, yeah.
I think the organization is probably a little happy that this happened because you can't just outright fire a coach after a Super Bowl run. So they're probably like, please leave, please leave, please leave, because else how do you get new blood in there? You know? So this is overall a positive change. But one of the negatives that may happen that we got to talk about, though, a lot of free agents after this Super Bowl run. A lot of faces will probably be leaving the team. I have a list here of some of the bigger, or actually all the free agents. And, you know, we had talked previously about how this might be the last run for a couple of these guys.
Yeah.
And looking at this list now, Rich, looking forward to next season, does some of these names being on this list kind of worry you?
Yeah, I mean, Cox and Graham, one of them's going to have to go. They're both hitting their mid-30s.
Yeah.
They can't keep paying top dollar for both of them, I feel like one of them's going to have to be a salary cap casualty.
Yeah, absolutely. My money would honestly be on Fletcher Cox because I think Graham still has a little bit left to give, but I don't know if the Eagles re-sign a 35-year-old defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, unless he takes a pay cut.
He would have to take a big pay cut.
Yeah.
Then you got Javon Hargrave, one of the best surprises on the defensive line. Also turning 30, he's going to command a high salary.
Yeah.
Because he was just phenomenal this season. And again, I don't know where the Eagles find the money there on the defensive line to pay all these guys. So one or two of them are definitely gone. But the big heartbreaker for me, of course, is Jason Kelsey. 35, had a third kid.
For him, it might just be outright retiring. I mean, I know he's danced around with it a couple years, so it could be just outright retiring.
The one thing that I am that gives me a little bit of positivity there is that he had a direct hand in picking his successor.
Yeah, with
the Eagles draft people. They work together. I think it's Cam Jurgens.
Cam Jurgens. Yep.
Yeah. He worked with the Eagles and said, this is the guy whose play style is most like mine. He's going to be a stud. So, I'm not too concerned. Obviously, I would hate to see Kelsey go, but I like the fact that he picked his successor. I feel like that's, a pretty good start.
I feel like Kelsey, though, it's pretty much he either comes back or he retires.
Right.
There's not another option.
There's not an option where he goes and plays for another team.
No.
Not after the run he's had here.
No.
So.
Whereas I think like Cox, Graham, Hargrave, they would easily find a desperate team that would give them.
Oh, absolutely.
Blank check.
Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, absolutely. Brandon Graham may be. I mean, he's 35 years old. I mean, he's been here just as long as Kelsey. That one would be tough. I think he did say he wants to come back though.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. Somebody who probably will not come back is James Bradbury. He was on a 1-year deal. He's just turning 30, but I mean, the way that he played, Super Bowl, taken out of the equation because he had a rough go of it there. But
1-year rental.
Yeah. He's going to command a really high salary at corner, so he's likely gone. Here's a surprising one that could be tough. Isaac Seumalo.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, he's going to be pricey, but you have all these other guys in the offensive line, that are their salaries are just going to keep increasing.
Yeah, and the Eagles, by the way, they only have 5 picks in the draft, I think, right? Because they traded a lot of their 4th, 5th. They traded a lot of that day
2 and 3 stuff.
Yeah.
To bring in some of these guys for this season.
Right.
So
the Eagles. Another thing too, looking ahead to the draft, I think the Eagles are going to trade down because
they have to.
They have 2 first-round picks.
Have to. Oh yeah.
But not anything else for the remainder.
Right.
So
I could definitely see them taking that number 10. Every time we get a draft pick that's near the top 10, it's always like trade down. But I think I could see them trading down to maybe 17 to 20.
Yeah. And
then converting that to 2 firsts.
Very, very much a Howie move.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think they target a replacement for Isaac Seumalo in the draft?
Well,
maybe
that's
in the
what
second or third?
You're going to know if we hear any sort of draft position trading. Because if they don't, then I think then maybe they do re-sign Seumalo and they try and keep the pieces together. But if a lot of these pieces leave, they got to replenish them with draft picks.
Yeah. And, here's the other tricky bit here. Isaac Seumalo is on the list, but even though he's not a starter, Andre Dillard What do you do about the former first-round pick?
Yeah, you might have to let him go.
He's good depth. People always say he's good depth, but Jordan
Is that enough?
not with Jordan Mailata starting on that side and Lane Johnson on the other. There's just no room for him, and he doesn't want to change positions.
Yeah, so he might be a casualty.
That's a rough one. But anybody else on this list? There's one other name, actually two other names I want to talk about. But anybody?
I
jumps out to you?
think I know. Miles Sanders and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Those are exactly the names that I'm thinking about. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think he was tied for most interceptions this year, and he missed like 6 games.
Yeah, he had a great year.
What a steal there from the Saints. You know, if the Saints have any other safeties, or corners that they don't want.
All right,
because this is Jenkins and Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, this rule may also work against us. If we do it a third time, I think there might have to be a rule. We can't do this.
No, I'm going to keep taking their undervalued safeties. But Gardner Johnson, I mean, I think you got to pay the kid.
I mean, he's only 25. Yeah, I mean, you can.
I mean, I think he should be near the top of their list to retain.
Depends on what he's looking for.
Yeah, I mean, he could also want a big time contract. If I were the Eagles, I'd be like, look, you proved yourself this year, but we need to see like long-term, success. But if another team swoops in and, has a huge, crazy deal, there's nothing much we can do.
No.
But Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with Sanders.
Well, what do you do with Sanders? Because I know what I do with Sanders, and nobody wants to hear me say it. You let him walk.
Yeah, I think you let him walk.
Look, going back to the stats, Jalen Hurts, 70 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 21. Boston Scott, 8. Miles Sanders, 16. He's third. He is our first-string running back. He is third in this list behind his backup and the quarterback.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, running backs are, they're kind of overhyped.
I don't mind Gainwell.
Yeah, I mean,
I say give him a shot.
I mean, he's been putting up some decent numbers.
You bring back Boston Scott and Gainwell. You go out and you got a guy in the second and third, and boom, you got your committee.
Yeah, you don't need a stud running back really anymore.
No, they can be neutralized.
You just need somebody that's competent that can hit the holes.
They can be neutralized. Who's Isaiah Pachinko?
Yeah,
this guy, was he even a dude before this game?
No, he was a slot machine before he took out the Eagles.
I mean, I'm looking at. I mean, he had a decent year, but he tore us up. Like he was the second coming of those running backs from the mid 2000s, like Jason Alexander and Priest Holmes and all these guys. Running possessed. You don't need a superstar to get it done. You really don't.
Not when it comes to running back. No. They're a dime a dozen, and then most teams are running back by committee anyway.
Yeah.
So there you go. Looking forward into the off season, or as the NFL calls it, the non-playing season. Which, by the way, you may think we're just using this as a tactic, but I was watching a couple of shows, a couple of sports shows. It is for the other 31 teams. Well, the other 30 teams. I mean, I'm sure we're still reeling, but for the other 30 teams, the day after the Super Bowl, it's like, all right, it's now time to see what we're going to do in the offseason. It's like back to the grind.
It's business as usual, and that's highlighted by some weird quarterback moves that have happened already. We kind of skipped over this topic to get straight to the Eagles, but there's some weird stuff happening. Yeah,
I mean, this is a sign that for the rest of the league, all right, it's all right, on to 2023 now.
Every other GM is like, they're like, you play your little game. We're playing the chess match behind the scenes, right?
Yep. And that is the announcement that Derek Carr is officially released by the Raiders. And literally, it was just done because they didn't know what to do with him, and they didn't want to pay him $40 million. That was guaranteed for 2023, so they outright cut him. Bye.
And this is a good move for everyone. The Raiders saving $40 million, obviously, and also Derek Carr to get the hell out of Las Vegas. I mean, the team is not doing. I mean, they tried to get him the weapon in Devontae Adams, but I think that the organization is just kind of like in a quagmire, right? So
they're always, the Raiders are always cursed.
They really are. So it's good for Derek Carr to get out of there, and it's good for the Raiders to save the money. I think we all saw this one coming. What we didn't see coming was this next headline, which I don't even know. Aaron Rodgers has officially entered his 4-day darkness retreat to make a decision about whether or not he will return for this season.
I'm in the dark here.
There you go. Yes.
That was live audio. We have a feed to the cave or wherever he is.
We just have a random microphone.
Just a random mic.
Yeah,
And what did Roger say again?
I'm in the dark here.
I don't know where that accent came from with Rogers, but he's so he's in his darkness retreat. What is that?
Yes, this is legit, folks.
I'm not making that. That's what he's calling it, a darkness retreat. I can only report the facts.
Yes. I guess hippy dippy Aaron Rodgers. This is how he's making his franchise altering decisions now. Because he has to let the Packers know whether or not he wants to first off play or retire. Retiring is still on the table. A lot of people think that's not an option for him, but that is still technically on the table.
It's always an option.
Whether or not he wants to play, and then whether or not he wants to come back for the Packers, or would he be willing to be traded away? And that is because there is also talk that the Packers are just fed up with him. And I would imagine, duh. I mean, literally, we've done this dance for the last 3 years. Every time in the offseason, whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to stay or go, and when will Jordan Love officially take over the reins, because he's been sitting on the bench now for 3 full seasons.
Yeah. And
how do you even know what you got if you can't use them?
This all sounds very familiar.
Yes, it does.
Is all I'm going to say. The Packers need to stop finding toxic quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because for the past 30 years, they've just moved from one toxic will he, won't he relationship to another will he, won't he relationship. You need a quarterback who's going to commit to you, Green Bay. Okay?
Yeah, it's almost like a weird relationship.
It is. It's an abusive one. Aaron Rodgers is skipping out of town. He's going to go sit in his little dark cave for 4 days to decide what he wants to do. Meanwhile, Green Bay's left there trying to pick up the pieces on Valentine's Day.
I'm in the dark here.
Yeah, there you go. It's officially the sentiment going on.
But
in the Rodgers camp.
I'm in the dark here.
In all seriousness, though, going back to the Jordan Love thing, you just at this point just trade or cut Rodgers and just move forward. And if Jordan Love isn't the guy,
well, you want to trade him. You want to get some value,
right?
For
You
him.
want to try and trade him. I mean, I think that they should, and you could get a ton of value for him. And guess what? If they're you don't think so?
I don't know. He definitely took a step back this year. He regressed.
You're telling me that there aren't teams out there who are stupid enough. We just saw teams pay who they traded for Russell Wilson. They signed Deshaun Watson. What?
You're talking stupid franchises that need a quarterback? Huh.
Are the Packers going to trade with the Jets? Are we going to see like literally a repeat of history?
It would literally be a repeat of Brett Favre.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just Nike up and just do it.
Yeah. Send his ass over to Jets and laugh your ass off.
Yeah. Look,
there is also, by the way, I can't imagine that relationship working out.
No.
That seems, if I was Aaron Rodgers, that seems like the worst place to go. Like that to me does not scream any sort of potential.
He doesn't care.
I would rather be in the dark than be with the Jets organization.
I'm in the dark here.
And nobody can convince me otherwise. He doesn't want to win. If he wanted to win, he wouldn't have pulled all this nonsense with Green Bay. And for Green Bay's part, it's time to just cut ties. Like, you had a great run. You're holding on to, glory days past. And if you're afraid Jordan Love isn't the guy, oh, well, too bad. Just draft another guy. Arizona did it. The Eagles did it. We made it to the Super Bowl. Just bite the bullet and just do it again and do it again and do it again until you find the guy.
Windows are very small.
Yeah. You could suck this year and then go and make it to the Super Bowl the next year. The Eagles literally did that twice in a 5-year span.
Yep.
There's nothing. Just get rid of Rodgers. Because he's going to get 2 first-rounders wherever he goes. Easily.
Maybe. I don't know. If it's the Jets.
Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford got how many?
But Russell Wilson, I think there was still hope that he was going to have like 2 or 3.
But Matt Stafford's the off-injured quarterback from the Lions who was aging, and he still got, a huge return.
I don't know. I feel like Rodgers, he took a big step back.
Brady played until, 45? And he was winning Super Bowls in his 40s. The NFL thinks that they can do the same thing with any quarterback now.
Well, good luck trying to do what Aaron Rodgers with his shenanigans. And
there's a team out there willing to do it.
I would say it would be the Jets. The Jets would be the one to throw. Here you go. Here's every first-round pick for the next 10 years.
Packers would be crazy not to.
Yep. So we'll see how well that works out. But in the meantime, yes, it is a real story. It is a real headline that Aaron Rodgers is literally in the dark right now. And until he figures out what he's going to do, he will remain in the dark.
I'm in the dark here.
Yeah, so there you go. The official audio feed.
That's all he can say.
That's all he can say.
I'm in the dark here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we ended on a positive note of making fun of Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yeah, eventually we were going to see the light. It was going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of emotional grieving and processing, but eventually we came through on the other side.
That's right.
And we're back to a normal mode.
Ain't that the Philly way?
That's right. You got to get back up.
That's right.
And you got to look ahead for next season. For us, though, we're going to look ahead to the next segment when we come back from the break because we'll have the entertainment entree and then the non-fortune cookie odd news coming your way. Don't go anywhere. This is the Crispy Noodle Podcast.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
If you go to Taco Bell at 3 in the morning, this is what you're going to get. Yeah,
that clip is already coming into play.
Yes, already. So there you go.
Stop.
What happened?
The thing went on.
Well, how did that turn on?
I don't know. The fart sound.
The fart sound turned Amazon on?
I think the fart sound turned on my Echo.
What the hell?
I don't know. It turned on.
What are you doing, Jeff Bezos? What are you into?
Bezos, he's listening to fart sounds.
He's listening to our fart sounds. Oh, my God.
I changed the trigger word to fart. I got to fart at it now. I don't know what happened.
That's really awkward. You're going to have to... Excuse me.
Excuse me. How can I help you?
You may need some bowel.
Do you want me to automatically order you Pepto-Bismol? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm talking to it solely through farts now.
It actually, you fart into it.
Fart once for yes and twice for no.
No. Actually, you fart into the device, and then Amazon can determine what medicine you need.
Oh, right. Wow. That's next level right there. Or what you've been eating and what you want to reorder.
Oh.
I detect Cheetos. Would you like to subscribe?
Would you like a bulk order of Cheetos?
Ooh, yes, please.
Cheetos ordered.
Cheetos. That story took a turn.
Yeah.
Cheetos ordered.
Okay. All right, there you go. The latest from Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
It's amazing technology, I tell you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're back here on the Crispy Noodle podcast. We're back to regular mode, I think, now. You know,
Yeah.
it was definitely going to be a rough start to the podcast with a Super Bowl loss here in Philadelphia. But you know what? At least we can look at other people's dysfunctions and make us feel better about ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we ended on a positive note, you know. And one more thing of positivity, everybody to keep in mind, it really was a magical season.
Yeah,
You know,
it was a good run.
The ending was obviously a disappointment, but it was way better than most people expected. And there's a lot of positivity to look forward to.
Yep.
You know, it stings now, but we'll pull through.
Yep.
And the thing that will help us pull through, of course, is looking to the world of entertainment.
That's right. So without further ado, let's launch into the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty? Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, entertainment entree time. And we're going to start off with the segment where Mike is going to let you know what you should keep an eye out for this upcoming weekend with movies and TV. It is time for Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, what do you got for the people?
All right, well, now that there's no more sports until next September, we...
It's just sport. No! There's lots
That's
of
right.
things.
Nope.
Yes.
No more sports.
There's March Madness.
Nope. That's not a thing.
Yes. It's not a thing?
Not a thing in my book.
Well, good for you.
I'm just kidding.
There's actually some good things. There's March Madness. There's the Masters. Then when you hit that beginning of the summer, there's the NBA and
You forgot about the
Stanley
start
League.
of the baseball season.
Yes, I did. Whoops.
Wow, and you tell me that I'm bad. You just left an entire sport out of the
Look,
loop.
I was thinking of like the things that I'm looking
But not baseball.
well, baseball. There's just so many games. It's like
there's like 162,000 games in
Yeah.
a season.
yeah. So I don't know. I was thinking about the things I'm excited.
But you know, to fill the time between all those games, there's some new television releases. Hello Tomorrow comes to Apple TV Plus this week. This is a new retro futuristic sci-fi dramedy about a group of sales associates who sell timeshares on the moon. It looks kind of interesting, kind of weird and quirky. So go check that out on Apple TV Plus. Also on regular television, Animal Control is a new live-action comedy coming to Fox on Thursday at 9 p.m. Joel McHale returns to TV and stars in this new workplace comedy about a group of animal control workers who discover that humans are actually the most complicated part of their job.
Aw.
There you go. Isn't that? The animals are so much fun and lovely, and humans are bad.
Yeah, take that.
So go check that out
You
on
all
Fox.
suck.
That's right, y'all suck. But the big news and entertainment this week, of course, is in movies. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes to theaters this week, marking the official start of Phase 5 for the MCU. Along with the new phase, of course, comes a new big bad in the form of Kang the Conqueror, who I think all fans are excited to see after his tease in Loki. And they've been, alluding to him coming. So we finally get to see what that's all about and see, where the next phase and Phase 6 will take us. And that is what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, and perfect way to springboard off of that is a couple of Marvel updates. that you want to mention? This was in an interview with Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah, so Kevin Feige had an interview with Entertainment Weekly where he talked about the future of the MCU. One of the benefits of having somebody head up your entire cinematic universe is, you can have these conversations about these long stretching plans, something that the DC is completely unfamiliar with. But for Marvel, we're starting Phase 5, but they're looking even further. And a few interesting tidbits here in this interview. First, Kevin Feige confirms that there is, in fact, a new Spider-Man script in the works. I think we all kind of expected it because Spider-Man was so big for the MCU. But there was always a question. There was some serious doubt. There was. But kind of confirming here that Spider-Man will be back. He says, all I will say is that we have the story, we have big ideas for that, and our writers are just putting pen to paper now. So there you go. There's another Spider-Man film officially in the works. It'll be very interesting to see how they pick up.
Did he specifically say just Spider-Man script?
So I have to go and actually listen to or read the entire interview, but the article that was summarizing all the tidbits was saying that
that would be interesting if he just only said Spider-Man.
He says that we have
and not mentioning like Tom Holland.
I mean, I guess it doesn't mention whether or not he specifies Tom Holland, but you would assume that that would be Tom Holland. So you think there could be some multiverse trickery?
Maybe.
It would be possible.
Wasn't there? Because there was like a weird, what was it, change.org? I don't know, whatever this thing where you sign a petition. There was a weird thing going around that was like, get Andrew Garfield his third movie, because he never had a third movie for The Amazing Spider-Man. So it would be funny if they went back and were just like, yeah, you know what? Let's finish it. I don't know. Maybe it would fit in the quantum universe. I don't know. That'd be a weird twist.
Yeah. So here, I just looked up in the interview. The interviewer asks, you mentioned Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Spider-Man No Way Home was such a huge hit, and I know Marvel Studios has the deal with Sony regarding that character. Do you have any updates on when we might be seeing Peter Parker again? And his answer is, all I will say is that we have the story, we have big ideas for that, and our writers are just putting pen to paper now.
Okay.
So, doesn't specifically call out Tom Holland, just saying that they have a Spider-Man script. It would not be crazy to see a situation in which we have another Spider-Man. The multiverse, obviously a big part of Phase 5 and Phase 6 going forward. And even before Phase 5 and 6, the multiverse in terms of Spider-Man is also a huge deal. Like, the multiverse has always been part of Spider-Man's story, and the idea of multiple Spider-Mens and, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt, so I know a little bit of what I'm talking about.
You are the Spider-Man expert.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be crazy to see another guy play Spider-Man. No. I hope they stick with Tom Holland, but it wouldn't be out of the question. But in addition to Spider-Man, there's a whole bunch of other heroes in the MCU, and we've seen a huge addition of new characters and new stories through the Disney Plus series. And this is something that I kind of mentioned in previous shows when we've talked about this, is just how many there are.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot.
It feels like we're inundated with shows. And Kevin Feige did say that they won't be as frequent going forward, that they're going to slow the pace of Disney Plus shows and, not maybe have so many at the same time. Interestingly, though, here's a little tidbit that he offers, that they want to see TV shows become even more episodic. He says, quote, I want to continue to make them even more episodic, which may seem counterintuitive, but I do think there is something fun about leaning back and watching an episode that can be relatively self-contained. So what do you think of this sentiment? Like, does this kind of fly in the face of what Marvel has been building for the past, 2 decades? The idea of these self-contained stories that don't connect to the larger universe? I mean, do you think that would upset fans, basically?
Well, I don't think it'll upset fans.
You don't think so? Given the reaction to Phase 4, how we thought it wasn't connected enough?
No, but I feel like this is kind of a reaction to those standalone, highly acclaimed TV episodes. Like, the ones I'm thinking of off the top of my head is like The Suitcase in Mad Men, The Fly in Breaking Bad. Even The Last of Us recently, episode 3.
Yep. Bill and Frank, yep.
Like it's weird. It's almost like you can make those standalone episodes and hire like really top A-grade talent because they're only standalone episodes. And like that could be like the thing that you send to like the Emmys and stuff, and that's how you get like critical acclaim and stuff like that. So I feel like that's like a reaction to that wave of trying to get, become a critical darling.
But those shows are all part of, one cohesive narrative. Whereas I think what Kevin Feige is saying is that he wants something a little bit more like the What If series, where every episode is its own story. Separate from...
So more like an anthology?
More like an anthology or like a serialized, like almost like a procedural. I don't know what form it's going to take. But I'll say this, just personally, I don't know that I'd be interested in something that's completely disconnected from the MCU. You know what I mean? Like maybe if it was an anthology where like there's individual stories, but they all tie into the MCU. This is kind of the problem they've written themselves into, is that everybody expects
some tie-in.
Right. It's all got to tie back together. And you saw that in Phase 4 a lot. People complained, myself included at times, there's no connection, there's no overarching, story.
Yeah.
And I get that Phase 4 was supposed to be kind of like a reset, but by this point we're kind of expecting everything to tie together. So it'll be interesting to see how they envision this episodic content.
Yeah.
But it's funny, just the other day, I was sitting down to have lunch, and I just wanted to watch like a quick 20-minute something, and I was like, God, there's like no show that I can like sit down and watch quick during like a short lunch break or something. Like everything is like a 50-minute, hour-long episode in the middle of like some long season you have to be invested in. Well, maybe this would be perfect for a situation like that. Something just a little bite-sized that you can just
Have you heard of YouTube?
Well, that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you want something a little bit meatier than, the latest like girlfriend reviews video, which are one of my favorite YouTubers right now. But, you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Wish there was a little something episodic. So those are just a few key tidbits from the interview about the direction of the MCU. And just very exciting place where it's right now, starting Phase 5. Can't wait to see Ant-Man Quantumania. I think it's going to be good. And good stuff on the horizon for the MCU. Which brings us to the next topic.
Yeah.
Because I'm the Marvel guy, so I can give us the Marvel report. So Rich, I'm going to throw you under the bus and just toss it over to you because we have a little bit of trailer talk here.
Yep.
During the Flash movie.
Yep. During the Super Bowl, we got the full trailer for the Flash movie, which I still didn't know that was going to happen. Like, I don't know.
I thought this guy was like arrested.
Everything going on with the guy with the guy himself, first off. Yeah, that's crazy. But also like with everything going on with DC and their internal chaos, I didn't even know that this was even going to make it. But apparently it is. They're going to release this new Flash movie in which the Flash is also going to mind bend the universe as well. But with that comes the fan service that they're going to be able to have multiple versions of heroes, including Batman. We're going to have Batman.
Yeah. and actually in the trailer we saw multiple versions of Batman. We saw, of course, Ben Affleck. I thought he was out. I guess this is his last appearance because then they also revealed, rather the return of Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yep.
Like, are you excited for that? Like, as
yes.
a Batman and DC fan, like, does that, like, you watch this trailer and you're like, yeah, finally.
I think it's interesting that we're finally going to get to see this movie because this has been kicked around for like the last 3 or 4 years that like they wanted to bring back Michael Keaton as a role or something. So I thought that's cool to see it. But the way that it was like shot in the trailer, it was almost like a comedy effect. Like I almost started laughing. Like I was
because it zooms in close to face. And he's like, I'm Batman. I'm like, it's like written like a joke. You're right.
Yeah, it was almost like a weird commercial. Like it was like a commercial. Like, it was like I'm expecting like a bag of Doritos to pop up. Batman loves Doritos. Like,
He's just like, I'm Batman. You just hear a crunch as he starts like eating chips.
yeah, like it felt like a commercial rather than the trailer for a movie. But it's going to be interesting to see multiple Batmen in a movie that's needed for the Flash, which I think just adds to my logic that Batman is the best character and he needs to help all these other heroes.
He does.
Remember Superman that when they were doing the second Superman movie, it was supposed to be just Superman.
Right.
And then they realized, I don't know if Superman is enough to command like a big budget $1 billion movie. We got to throw in Batman. And that movie became Superman versus Batman.
Yeah.
Like,
which is crazy because like you'd feel like Superman could make a movie by himself.
It's
but
like
not.
they always need Batman to boost a movie.
Christopher Nolan kind of like helped DC, but then also tanked them because now you're right. They think that they need Batman or some like Batman adjacent characters in every single movie. Remember, it was like the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
You know, the first one, they shoehorned Joker in there for no reason whatsoever.
No reason. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. Yeah.
Some apologists out there are like, oh, you needed it for Harley Quinn's story to make sense. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. No, not at all.
So, yeah, it's weird to see multiple Batman in the trailer. And also, I was watching the trailer before the show, and I'm like, you know, tongue in cheek, I was like, is this a Flash movie or a Batman movie? Most of the footage I felt like was of Batman.
You need Batman to make a good Flash movie.
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, so it's interesting here that we have both the MCU news and the DCEU news. And it's like two sides of the same thing where the MCU is kind of like culminating with the multiverse. Like the multiverse is like breaking and falling apart and all these heroes are coming together. And it seems like DC is the exact opposite. They're starting with the multiverse. They're going to blow everything up and completely reset. It's just a really interesting take on the same like concept.
Yeah, because after this movie, it's all James Gunn universe.
Right. Yeah, it resets and it's going to be in Marvel we have phases, but get ready guys because with the DC we have to talk about chapters. So this starts chapter 1.
We have to talk about just weird universes. Everybody.
This is like modern entertainment. It's so weird. We're talking about universes of movies, but this is DC's chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. And from this point forward, it's all James Gunn.
Yeah.
So this
After
is like the multiversal big reset button.
Right.
That's going to nuke it all. I mean, that's a good way to do it, I guess. I give him props. I mean, this is the perfect out. Right? This is your perfect exit. So let's just blow it all to smithereens.
I guess the exit works, but the entrance I'm a little underwhelmed by because the first movie is supposed to be Aquaman.
Oh, you're not sold on Aquaman? No, it's 3, isn't it? Is it 2 or 3?
Whatever.
Wait, how many Aquaman are there?
Why? Why is Aquaman? I'm sorry. I don't understand Aquaman.
What's his ability? He talks to fish, right?
And he's kind of buff.
Does
so all the girls fall in love with him.
Is he like a waterbender? Like,
yeah, he can do stuff like that, but no, he's just a hunk because all the girls want to.
Isn't every superhero? You put up any superhero and be like, oh, that's an Uggo. No.
Yeah, the cartoon version of Aquaman.
Yeah,
because that's just a dopey guy with a blonde haircut. The cartoon Aquaman looks more like me, and they ditched that because they had to get Mr. Jason Momoa, who
I see.
People just throw panties at.
You're just upset because you're not being represented in your DC movies.
Yeah, when you go back to the cartoons.
That's right. Yeah.
It's supposed to be me.
That's right.
But no.
He was robbed of his chance to see someone who looks like him on film.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is, DC.
I just find it weird that to start the whole thing,
it's Aquaman.
It's going to be Aquaman. I don't know. That seemed weird.
They're ending it with Batman. I mean, the Flash, but Batman.
Yeah.
And then they're starting with Aquaman.
Flashman.
I feel like there has to be a
better
Flashbat.
Flashbat.
Bat Flash.
Bat Flash.
That's
actually the phone he picks up.
Bat Flash.
Bat Flash.
I feel like there has to be a better entry point, though.
Right? Yeah. Like, I feel like that's not a strong way to start off DC Chapter 1.
See, Marvel has weird entry points, too. Like, when they started the entire MCU, they started with Iron Man. Like, who's Iron Man back in the day?
That's true.
And, like,
that is true.
Ant-Man. But the difference is, plain and simple, as harsh as it sounds, Marvel can tell stories.
Marvel has a good track record.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, what's the worst Marvel movie? Like, they're all kind of good. Like, the worst
The
ones
Eternals.
Okay, that was legitimately bad. But outside of the Eternals, like, all of them are like at least decent.
Yeah.
You know, DC has not proved that so far.
No.
And this trailer just emphasizes that it is almost calamitously claustrophobic. You've got multiple Batmen. You got going back in time to the Man of Steel era, right before Zod's attack.
Yes.
But Superman isn't part of it. Instead, it's Supergirl. You have two Flash. You have the multiverse. This is also the problem, is that they're using this as kind of like an exit, but I don't know that they've earned it. Like, did they earn all the multiverses colliding? They didn't really have a cohesive universe to begin with.
No.
So, like, it feels unearned as well.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, Rich. DC just always letting you down.
It's all right. It's okay. Look,
it's okay.
It's okay because we have the properties that DC doesn't have their hands in, and they work fantastic.
Right. Leave those separate. You see, Marvel wants to go episodic with their TV shows. Why didn't DC just stay episodic with their movies? Just each movie is its own thing. I don't think they need a universe.
No, but they can't go that route. Marvel's doing it. We have to do it.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all turns out.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I'll just be ready to see the new Batman,
the Batman 2 with a third Batman
and Flash Bat. I'm calling this Flash Bat. This is the Flash.
You're gonna go see Flash Bat?
This is gonna be the Flash Bat movie now. Take that.
Nice. I like it.
All right. Well, we got to flash our way forward to the final segment. It is time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing.
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Manda basata. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts. That'll be $4, baby. You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at meat tornado.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders, go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Woo, odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. And here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing this story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to?
All right. I want to give a special shout out. Our good friend, Super Fan Shapek.
Oh, Super Fan Shapek. Nice.
Joe Shapek. He I think he might have been an Eagles fan too because.
Oh, really?
I think.
All right. Go Birds.
Yeah, but I think, after that tough loss, I think he needed to find some purpose in his life because he went on the streets for me.
Okay.
And has found two odd news stories here for us to talk about.
Wow. All right. We got some interesting stories from his on the field reporting.
Yeah. So thank you, Superfan Shapek. You get the sausage shout out this week.
Sausages!
Yeah. And he gets multiple because he sent multiple stories in.
Sausages! No sausages. No sausages. No sausages. Sausages!
So there you go. He got the full clip.
I mean, what's better than one sausage than two sausages?
Than the full sausage clip.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Yeah. So this first story, though, takes place in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And has to deal with something that we are all familiar with, and that is the famous Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Hot diggity dog.
Yeah, right?
Nice.
Everybody knows the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, right?
Yeah.
Hot diggity dog. This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
Yeah, there you go. It's a big wiener on a car.
I love it. It's great.
Are you okay down there? Your penis?
Yeah, you know,
I've never heard that one. Pulling that one out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Holy crap! You are creepy as shit.
Yeah, this should be the Negan odd news story.
He
here.
really did have the best lines.
Yeah, so there you go. Perfect timing here with this odd news story. And it's just a simple thing, but kind of a little bit sad here. The Oscar Wienermobile, Oscar Mayer, I said Mayer? What did I do? I'm all over the place.
You combine Mayer with Wiener.
Oscar Wiener. Oscar Wiener.
Oscar Wiener.
Oh my gosh. It's been a long couple weeks. Anyway, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile unfortunately hit a little bit of trouble in Sin City this past weekend, because while it was on display for the Super Bowl weekend, I guess, trying to encourage people to bet.
Yeah,
I guess.
with hot dogs.
Woo! Yeah, why not?
Place a bet and get a free hot dog.
Look, that's a pretty good promotion.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Hot diggity dog. This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
Yeah, I would do that. That sounds good to me.
You can't turn down a nice ballpark hot dog.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Are you okay down there? Your penis?
Yeah. Anyway, so the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was on display in Vegas and trying to get people to bet on the Super Bowl. But then, according to CBS affiliate KLAS TV, they reported that on Friday morning, somebody went in and stole the Wienermobile's catalytic converter.
It's about to get all stupid up in here! No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yes.
Oh, no.
You've heard about this happening across cars across the country. It actually happened to the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
That's heartbreaking.
Who had the balls to be like, you know what? I'm going to steal this damn catalytic converter, and I'm going to make a boatload of money selling that on the black market.
Oh, good for you!
Not the Wienermobile.
Yeah. So that renders it unmovable.
Right.
Like, you can't drive it. The catalytic converter.
It's just there.
Is a necessary part of how this vehicle moves.
Hot diggity dog. That mouth did some major damage.
Well, this wasn't a mouth. This was the catalytic converter being stolen. So local truck rental facilities had to come out to the shock of people to move the Wienermobile outside of the betting establishment. Eyewitness Joseph Rodriguez said that he was surprised by what he saw. This is like a huge hot dog in the middle of my bay. I have all these other trucks to work on, but the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile comes first.
I mean, you can't turn down a celebrity like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can it fit inside a regular garage? It can't.
It's pretty big, right?
It's 27 feet long, according to the news report.
Oh my God.
So how do you even get that up on a bay to work and get underneath it?
Yeah, that's a huge...
You would need multiple bays. That's actually crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's a very large vehicle.
Yep.
Oh man, that's upsetting. How did they work on it?
Well, what's going to make it more upsetting is that the crew could only fit it with a, quote, temporary catalytic converter, which will allow it to make a few appearances this week, But after that, it needs a permanent one, and there is a 4-month waiting list for large catalytic converters.
I feel like they got to make an exception for the Wienermobile, right?
Yeah, come
like
on.
They bumped that up the list.
Yeah, you gotta bump that one up there.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
But are you also telling me Oscar Mayer doesn't have... Who owns the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile? It's Oscar Mayer, right?
Right.
They don't have an extra one?
I guess not an extra catalytic converter. I don't think they keep extra parts of the car.
You don't think so? It gets a flat. They don't have tires. They're not ready.
Well, I guess tires are more common. You can blow a flat, anywhere.
I feel like.
But who actually goes underneath and steals a catalytic converter?
But do you think they should have backup wieners though? Everybody should have a backup wiener.
Yeah, that's very important.
Are you okay down there? Your penis?
Yeah, very
you got to be
important.
prepared.
Yeah.
But that's the only one? They have to have others.
I don't know. Maybe they don't. I mean,
Where
that is a big...
Where does the Wienermobile come from? Where is Wienermobile headquarters? Where is the central Wienermobile garage?
Are there a fleet of Wienermobiles?
There must be, right?
I hope so, because otherwise these event appearances aren't going to happen. Because right now they got to wait 4 months on this permanent catalytic converter to come in.
There are only 6 Wienermobiles touring the country at all times.
Oh, no. So there you go. Someone's schedule is going to get impacted by this.
Wow, that's not good.
Yeah.
No! Hit the brakes! I can't stop it!
Oh, no! We just lost the Wienermobile!
That's so sad.
Ah!
Oh, my God.
One day I knew I was going to use that clip from Star Fox 64.
It's tragic.
Oh, man, that came in handy. Very good. So, yeah, that's the end of the story because they don't because they gotta
not much
wait.
else to say, right?
They got it. Yeah, they have to wait for a new catalytic converter to be made. There's a theft report that was made, but there's no leads. So I don't know. I don't know. There's no cameras around. Nobody could find out what creepy guy went underneath the Wienermobile to steal the catalytic converter.
Who does that? There's some things you don't defile or deface.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Wienermobile should be one of them.
Absolutely. How dare you?
How dare he?
That takes some balls there.
Hot diggity dog. This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing, though, the Wienermobile.
It is. But damn it, that's our thing.
I'm on the Wikipedia page, and there's some fun facts here. Like, did you know? Well, there's only 6 of them. Did you know that the driver of the Wienermobile is called the Hot Dogger?
He's the main man.
Hot diggity dog. This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
There you go. Yep, sounds like a...
This is so
That's
weird.
a job title.
Did you also know that in 2017, they introduced several new hot dog-themed vehicles, including the Wiener Cycle, the Wiener Rover, and the Wiener Drone?
There you go.
No! Hit the brakes! I can't stop it!
You know, if that happens to one of the Wienermobiles, they could just replace it with like a Wiener Cycle or one of these other.
They're going to have to. All right, and Superfan Shapek, he sent me another story that was interesting. And this one takes place in Berlin.
Okay, Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, Berlin, Germany, going across the sea.
Yeah, this is crazy jump here. But a German newspaper critic, here's the problem. These foreign newspapers, they put everything in one sentence and just...
Oh, boy.
Because they're writing in traditional newspaper style. So, unfortunately, the first sentence says everything. A German newspaper critic had animal feces smeared on her face by a ballet director after he apparently took offense at a review that she wrote.
There was a bit of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness. frostiness, yes, yes.
Yes.
There's so much that's happening. So
Yes, that's a really big sentence to start off a story with.
that's a loaded sentence. So wait, so there's a reviewer and a ballet dancer,
ballet director.
Director.
Yeah,
smeared
get it right.
animal feces on the reviewer's face.
The ballet director smeared feces.
But animal feces.
And all over
the
newspaper critic.
The newspaper critic's face.
Yes, just all over it.
I would not expect that from ballet people.
No. Yeah, that seems kind of fancy. I'm kind of surprised.
And you know exactly what I'm going to ask next, though, is how they acquired the animal feces. That's always my question.
Yep.
You're at the ballet.
Yeah, right? I thought
Where
that was
are you
fancy.
keeping? Yeah, it's supposed to be fancy. It's supposed to be well-to-do.
Excuse me.
Indubitably, everybody has monocles and champagne.
Yes. I need, excuse me, waiter. I need, maitre d', I need a glass of champagne and your finest bucket of poo.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. This is the 2016 Woodford Reserve.
I guess you could say you had yourself a manwich. Yeah. Ooh.
This is impeccable vintage.
Yes.
Delicious. Like, where are they finding and how much and what kind? Those are my three questions. How much, where, and what kind? I need to know.
Okay, so the newspaper that reported on this, I'm going to try and say it.
Oh, boy.
The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung.
Okay.
Zeitung?
I mean, that sounded pretty good to me.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not doing my German heritage any good here. I never took German.
That's true. Yeah, you should have that that German in your blood.
I know, but I never did this. I only
Guten
know,
Tag, was ist das?
I only know German from Die Hard.
Oh, Rich. Oh, man.
Was schnell! Was schnell!
I only know German from Die Hard. I'm not even sure that counts. That's like saying I know Italian from Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm bad at that.
Oh, man.
I just remember they kept saying, was schnell, was schnell!
Does that mean like faster or something?
Yeah, because,
I know Guten Tag.
They're getting the bombs down the building. Was schnell!
So this is the Frankenfurter or whatever.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah,
wait a second.
Right.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like the hot dog.
Hot diggity dog.
Yeah.
So Oscar Mayer not only owns 6 Wienermobiles, but they also own a news publication in Germany.
I got my fingers crossed for a little freaky deaky.
It's the media conglomerate we never expected.
Yeah.
Oscar Mayer, big media, mainstream media over here.
Crazy. Never would have thought that.
Not in a million years. So what did Oscar Mayer report again?
I'll try and do it one more time. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung. I'm going to go that. That sounds
you
a
gotta
little
say
more.
it angrier.
Right. I'm trying to imagine like it's got to be like a harder.
Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung.
I don't know. Anyway, this newspaper is reporting.
He's done.
It's reporting that the ballet director Marco Goki approached the dance critic Wiebke Huster.
It's been such a long time since we've had a weird European story that Rich can't pronounce. Oh, good times.
Yes, the director, Marco Grocki, approached the dance critic Wiebke Huster during the intermission of a premiere of a opera.
Wait, this is in the middle of the show?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, this is not happening casually.
This is like a press junket or like...
No, this is in the middle of a premiere
at
an opera on Saturday night.
What? Oh, my God. This is like prime time theater time right here.
Yeah.
He just has a bag of animal poop with him.
Also, does that mean he kept the animal poop for the first act?
Don't touch that. That's my animal poop.
I'm saving it for later.
I'm saving it. Oh, just don't mix it up with the props or whatever. Oh man.
That means he's sitting with this bag
He
of poop for
brought
like
a bag of poop with him to the theater, delicately set it aside. It has his name on it, little signs like, do not touch. This is the director's.
Oh, my God.
Waited
There
for
was a bit of a
intermission.
nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes? Yes.
Oh, my God.
So he's directing, right? And then intermission, he's like, drops everything, runs and gets his bag of poop, and then what? Tracks down the critic in the crowd. How does this?
Oh my God!
Like logistically, how does this happen?
Oh my God! I totally didn't realize that part of the story. He has to have had the poop then for the first act of this show.
But like you've been to live performances, like intermission, it's kind of like everybody's everywhere. Like he tracks down this person during intermission. Like forget directing the show.
Yeah, bye. I have more important things to do.
He just sprints from backstage with a bag of poop in one hand and a newspaper in the other.
I may not know my flowers, but I know a bitch when I see one.
That's really holding your anger. We talk about like how angry do you have to be to do some of the things that we see in the odd news.
It is my favorite recurring theme in the odd news is like when somebody is angry, but then like maintains that anger for a weird amount of time. So like he got mad like about a review and like was angry enough to think in advance to collect a bag of animal poop and then hold on to it for like an hour and a half until an intermission.
Yeah.
And then go find the critic. But, like, this is something that takes planning. Like, he didn't just scoop up dog poop off the sidewalk. Like, he's like, oh, this person's going to be at this thing.
I'm going to get him.
Next week at the premiere, he's going to be there. So I got to collect my poop now. Like, this takes planning.
Yeah.
This is first-degree pooping. It was premeditated.
Yeah. The newspaper said that Goki felt provoked by a recent review that Huster wrote of a production that he staged. And it was staged in the Dutch seat of government, The Hague, and thought that it was going to possibly ban her performance from the ballet and accused her of being responsible for people canceling season tickets in Hanover. So, in retaliation, I don't know, whatever that means. I guess it's...
I am so lost.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
They're pissed at each other.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. He's pissed off. Just take it for that.
I just, like...
I guess because the government can shut down a play.
Performance?
Yeah, if they want to.
But based on a review?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
The government, like, reads the review, they're like, oh my God!
This is atrocious! Shut that down immediately.
Honestly, I kind of wish they had that here. We wouldn't have so many bad TV shows and movies. They just shut it down.
I don't know.
From
Whatever.
the very top.
The point is, this ballet director is very pissed off.
Right.
So he pulled out a paper bag with animal feces, confronted her, and smeared her face with the contents.
Again, they just had a bag ready to go.
And according to the newspaper, it was in the middle of the packed theater foyer.
Oh, my God.
Right in the middle of all the action. Here you go.
Well, the show's definitely getting canceled now.
Because you done goofed.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, oh, this review's going to get my show canceled. You know what'll save it? Good old poop to the face.
Smearing poop on the reviewer's face. That'll do it. Yeah.
That's the golden ticket right there.
I will save my ballet.
Unreal.
The cops identified that it was dog feces, so good.
Okay, you got the answer to one of my questions.
Right. Got to make sure.
Yeah.
They're very thorough in Germany.
You know what? Honestly, this is very thorough reporting. I know what kind of poop, when it happened, what they were mad about. This is very solid reporting there from Germany. They don't take, they take their poop stories seriously.
Yep. And as a result, the Hanover State Opera and State Ballet have officially suspended Goki.
Didn't I just say that's how you get your show canceled?
Yep. And he is banned from the Opera House until further notice.
Whoops.
So he did not save his ballet.
What? Smearing poop on someone's face isn't going to save the show?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
This cannot be made good. It's shameful. It's a shameful, shameful day.
I just want to know, did anybody like smell it? Like, he's just bringing this like bag of poop along.
They're all backstage and like, what reeks?
Yeah.
Smells like dog poop. And the director's just like side-eyeing his wrinkled brown paper bag. Also, it was a paper bag?
Yeah, it was a bag, yeah. Don't worry about it. Go out on the stage. Shut up.
Just ignore it. Just ignore it.
Yeah, shut up. Go out on the stage.
Really, though, where did he keep it?
Yeah.
Do you have to... Because it's going to smell. Do you think he like kept... Like, do you need to keep it in a fridge? Do you like just...
Don't put it in the fridge.
Do you just... But like...
Everybody's lunch is in there.
But like, where do you keep a bag of poop until intermission? Do you just carry it around with you?
I don't know.
Do you set it down somewhere? Like,
Does it have its own seat? Do you have to buy 2 tickets?
The director has his chair, and then next to the director is a little chair for the poop.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yep. But there you go. Thank you, superfan Chapek.
That was a good one.
Joe Chapek, he came through for us in our time of need.
In our time of great crisis.
Yes.
He helps us.
Yes, that's right. And just, again, thank you for those 2 crazy stories. And that is how we will end the Odd News and the podcast on. And there you go, folks. I think we found a way to make everyone feel better about themselves and about this whole week post-Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But if you want to do what Superfan Chapek did, make sure that you are first off following us on all social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But then most importantly, make sure that you have a consistent way to find the podcast every week. We have the show that goes on Wednesday night on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. You get the podcast on your YouTube feed. We are also on Facebook Watch. So if you want to watch us directly on Facebook, you can do that as well. But also we are available on Spotify. The video podcast can be seen on Spotify. If you put Spotify in the background, you can listen to us as an audio-only podcast as well. And therefore, you can take us on the go with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So there's a lot of ways you can keep listening and hearing our crazy odd news stories and opinions on sports, entertainment, and odd news every week.
That's right. So many ways to check out the Crispy Noodle podcast. But if you need to get in touch with us individually to share your sports, entertainment, and odd news stories and get your sausage shout out, just like Superfan Chapek, you got to contact us individually on Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Rich Liebig, RichLiebig. If you have an odd news story, make sure it goes my way so Mike doesn't get the heads up on it.
I must maintain my obliviousness.
Yes, because that's how you get reactions like you just heard. That's
angry and befuddled.
Yes,
and bewildered.
And I'm still confused, even though I got that story in advance. I'm still confused by the story.
Just goes to show they really are weird and wacky.
Yes. So make sure you stay in contact with us that way. But for right now, we got to wrap this episode up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle and your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That will do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys
later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.